See, our intuitive assumption is that we're closest to God when our lives are going well and according to plan, right? We feel like Jesus is by our side, present and helping when we're living wisely and making good decisions and keeping in step with his mission in the world. But Hebrews says it works exactly the opposite way. That Jesus is nearest us in our weaknesses, not just our strengths. You see, our hearts corrupted by sin, they work like the opposite poles of a magnet that are ever resistant to grace, ever trying to get what grace might give us by a different means. But Jesus' heart, uncorrupted by sin, works exactly the opposite way. He's drawn to us in our weaknesses. He's magnetic to us in our moments of failure. He runs to us to meet us in our weakness. Dane Ortland writes, "If you are in Christ, you have a friend who, in your sorrow, will never lob down a pep talk from heaven. He cannot bear to hold himself at a distance. Nothing can hold him back. His heart is too bound up with yours." See, he shares in my pain. He takes on my condition. He suffers with me, yet he did not sin. And that's our hope. That is our only hope. That the one who is deepest with empathy is also fullest with healing power. He is with us in our weakness always. So how do we take him up on his power to heal? Confession. Confession is when we turn to him, look him in the eye, acknowledge his presence here with us, not to judge us, but to rescue us. You see, I know personally and painfully what it is to feel my cheek pressed against the dirt like that woman in John 8. I am not a man of clean hands and a pure heart. My life so often is a mockery of who I want to be. And every time I find myself there lying in shame, I hear that finger again. And I look into the eyes of love and love only, and I hear him, "Neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin." And that love, it's the only thing powerful enough to change me. So what if every time I find myself face down in the dirt, it's an opportunity to again hear his finger tracing through the sand and making promises of love to me that will never quit? And what if the parts of our stories that we'd like to edit or erase or hide away in fine print in the end become the parts that we go on telling forever? And what if you find yourself there today and it's not an invitation to clean yourself up or get yourself together or really mean it this time, but an invitation to realize how loved you really are? You see, that's where we discover what David discovered, that God's grace is more powerful than my sin. It's a discovery not made in the comfort of theological reflection, but in the terrifying nakedness of personal confession. You see, in our story, confession charades as a failure, but it is not. The lie that plagues the modern church is this, that spiritual maturity means that as I grow up in the faith, I confess less and less. But the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus means that confession is not a white flag, it is a victory cry. You see, in our story, we run to confession and we fear keeping up appearances. Spiritual maturity is not the need to never confess. Spiritual maturity is having greater freedom to confess.